I'd have to say this has been one of the most exciting experiences I've had work-wise, work or otherwise. You know, just like I said, every day has been something different, it's been a new challenge. Olivia and I were talking about you sort of have to face whatever fears you have. One of my biggest fears is always drowning or being stuck in a cave, not being able to breathe underwater and stuff like that. So it's been stuff that you get to kind of just do. You just have to do it, and it's been an experience I won't forget.
It's the kind of movie that sort of moves from the very beginning, and you can feel that there's something that's going to happen to these 6 people who are basically backpacking through Brazil. And it's unpredictable, and it's scary, and it's exciting, and it's shocking in a lot of ways. And what I love personally about it was this relationship that my character and his sister have, where it's sort of, you know, it's a typical sort of relationship until he loses his sister, until she loses him. And the threat that they're sort of running from is sort of what drives it through. And there's a lot of soul, and there's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of scary stuff that goes on. The director is John Stockwell, and he's great. He's prepared, and he's got some of the coolest shots that I've seen. I mean, he really knows how to shoot something like this. I'm not used to being in a place that you can actually shoot such a wide scope of landscape. So it's interesting, and it's exciting because, you know, depending on the weather and depending on the location and stuff like that, you kind of have to just go with whatever scene we're going with. Nobody really knows from moment to moment what we're going to be shooting, which is actually fun, and it keeps you on your toes. The biggest thing for me was experiencing Rio and just seeing the things that you hear about. Like, you walk in the beach on like a Saturday afternoon in this town, and it's just like, you just feel like the sweat and the bodies and the butts and the boobs and the sweat, everything. It's just, you feel, it's almost like a mist in the air because there's so many people, and it's sort of dirty, but it's just a really kind of cool thing to see. And I got a great picture from a ways back of just all the people, and it's pretty amazing to experience that. That to me was one of the memories that I'll bring home.
Turistas, it's about 6 tourists that turn up to Brazil, and basically the trip changes their lives. Everyone's on this trip to find out something about themselves, and in the long run things kind of don't go so well. They think it's paradise, and then everything goes terribly wrong. John Stockwell is directing Turistas. It's my first movie with him. He's the only director, I think, that could do this job. I've worked with a lot of great directors, and I imagined, would they come and do a film of Turistas in Brazil? No, the answer is no. He's the only one that gets out there and really does it. And I love it when something doesn't feel sort of safe, he'll demonstrate it for you, which is fantastic. So he's a real adventurer, a fantastic guy, very sort of enthusiastic, lives on the edge a little bit, which kind of worries me at times. But he's great. It's really good to do a film with him. I'm just fascinated with this place. I mean, I wrote an email to a friend saying, what a great job I have to be able to see this world, see this part of the world, but go to caves that nobody has ever swum in. Million of years old caves that I can go in and just sort of dive and see streets that no one would really, friends of mine would never really go to, or most people would never really go to, because it's a far part of the world. So I'm just spending my days really just sort of living, you know, the life, I guess, going into the city and talking with the people and eating the great food and taking photos and just feeling very blessed.
John Stockwell's our director, and he is a master at shooting on location and tropical locations very far away from anything. And the greatest thing about John Stockwell is that anything he asks you to do, he would do it himself. For instance, jumping under a rock in the rain into a, what do we call them? Cock spider nest. A cock spider is a Brazilian hybrid of cockroaches and spiders. And I happened to crawl into a huge breeding ground. And when I expressed a tiny, tiny bit of, you know, a little bit of fear, John Stockwell jumped in and did it before I did. So that's the kind of thing that makes you want to work hard for somebody. Josh Duhamel has literally become my brother, and it's kind of scary because I'm gonna go home and not really know how to do anything without Josh, and so I'm gonna show up at his doorstep and expect help with everything. No, Josh has not complained once since I've been around him in the last 2 months, even though he's worked more than anyone and been put through the most uncomfortable circumstances. So I have a lot of respect for Josh. He's also a really fun actor and doesn't take himself very seriously, as a lot of male actors seem to do. He's not cocky, and he's very generous with his scenes, especially some of the more, you know, emotional scenes that could be his day in the sun, but he doesn't do that. He's very giving. We've had a lot of fun. There's been a lot of dancing. There's been a lot of cachaça drinking. If you're not familiar with cachaça, it's I believe it's a sugarcane rum. And that was my subconscious talking. And it's delicious but tricky, with the worst hangover you'll ever have. And we've all encountered that. But it's been great because right away when everyone got to Rio, we started going out a lot together and hanging out and having a few drinks and dancing, and it broke the ice very quickly and we became close very quickly. So thank God for cachaça. We wouldn't be the same.
Our director is John Stockwell. He's been around. He's been everywhere. He's missed just a pair of shorts on and macheting his way through the jungle. He loves this. I mean, if he can go from working on a reef to down here and that, he obviously likes to get dirty. So he's got some issues there. The story is incredibly unique. I mean, usually whenever I read any script, you can spot its influences or it's an extension upon something that's been done before, because there's been 100 years of cinema and every story's been told, but this looks at it in such a unique way, and it is completely unpredictable even in terms of a thriller / horror film. It's every corner you turn, you know you're coming to a corner, you know you're about to turn, and you kind of expect something around the other side, and it's not. It's something completely different. That's what really attracted me, aside from just the quality of the dialogue. It's gorgeous here. It's stopped raining, the sun's out. Although we're up at first thing every morning and getting hosed down, so it might as well be raining. We roll around in the mud before work, take a cold shower when we're done. Good times.
I play Amy, and my character is Amy, and she plays best friends with B, which is not far from the truth, which is nice. And she's a little kind of a free spirit. I guess she's pretty strong usually in most circumstances. She's a strong girl, and I think she kind of runs the relationship between her and B. She's like the stronger of the two. And in this, I'm not as strong as I thought I'd be, but my character goes through some weaknesses that I don't think she was expecting. And definitely a free spirit, kind of an inner hippie, I guess you'd say. She's a cool chick. I was attracted to the movie for so many reasons. I worked with John Stockwell before, so that was always nice when you know the director. Brazil, I mean, almost 2 months in Brazil is not so bad. And the film, I mean, I'm a really big outdoor person, so for me this was like, all right, we get to be in the jungle and in mud, and I love that. So that was cool. And the film's great. It was written very well. This is Michael Ross's first script, I think, that's come to film, and it's great. And we got to really work with him as well here. So that was nice. But it's a great script and a intense script, but it was fun. Brazil's amazing in general, what we've seen in Brazil, but Ubatuba is like, it's hilarious. It's a small town, and we're probably the only white people, and I think we've made a good impression, I think, on the Brazilians here, because we're kind of crazy and fun, and but Ubatuba it's been amazing. John Stockwell's the director. I love him. I mean, I've worked with him. This is my second time working with him. and we just click for whatever reasons. I wish I could, okay, John at the monitor. There's a scene going on, maybe it's which scene should I do? Operation table, no, maybe a fight, whatever it is, the guy is like, you can see him, he gets all into it and he like moves up like this and all of his arms move and everything is like, his whole heart, everything's into it. And he wishes he was acting it, but he's directing it, so it's like all the passion goes right to that. And he's so passionate. The guy is just, this film is like his child, and he loves it. I mean, he wants things a certain way. If you get in the way, watch out, but if he knows what he wants, and working with someone like that is great, because they have a vision, and that's what it is. There's no second guessing it, there's no, you know, oh, I don't know what to do. He knows, and I love that. I love what he's done with this film. I mean, I've read some of the scripts I read, and I'm like, what are they going to do with that? And John turns it and makes it good. And I'm really interested to see how it's going to turn out, because this is different than anything he's ever done.
Today's actually our last day working on Turistas, which centers around a group of foreigners who are stranded. They have a bus accident in a remote Brazilian beach town and have to sort of band together to survive the various sort of calamities that befall them. Some things go quite well in Brazil, some things do not. It's really a version of a sort of paradise turning to hell. The first person cast in the film, almost prior to sort of at the same time as I came aboard, was Josh Duhamel, who plays Alex. And I sat down for lunch with him in Los Angeles and immediately thought, okay, this is the guy. You know, Josh is from North Dakota. He's a kid who hasn't traveled that much, has a really, you know, wide-eyed perspective, but is a little sort of wary of other cultures and extreme experiences. And in this case, his character is on this trip to sort of safeguard his sister, and you know, to sort of almost unwittingly experience something that he never thought he would be able to experience. It's less so than Blue Crush and Into the Blue, but still has a weather component. And we were going to start on the beach, and the night before I sort of looked at the weather, and it looked like we were going to get rain for the next day or two, so we switched it quickly to begin the movie shooting in the favela, in this poor community in Ubatuba. And it turned out to be a great move. It was pouring rain, the actors were miserable, you know, they were barefoot in bathing suits wandering through this depressed little town. No one in the town really understood what was going on. Half the town came out just to look. We captured all these great faces just staring out windows at them, these gringos. Right then and there, the actors knew that this was going to be a different kind of movie and the experience was going to be different. All of my films have had, to some degree or another, a degree of spontaneity and improvisation, and I've always given the actors and anyone else who wanted it the ability to, on the day, offer up an alternative suggestion. There were so many times in this movie where, especially in the scenes between the Portuguese speakers and the English speakers, where no matter how well they rehearsed the scene, there was some disconnect, and you know, you were never sure as you were watching them do it, are they really not understanding each other? Is this acting? Is this reality? Is this improv? And it works wonderfully.
It's about a group of backpackers come to Brazil, vacation, see something new, and they end up having a great time together, but they get in a bus accident, they get stranded in a small town, and things take a turn for the worse. I felt incredibly lucky that the script even got to John, and then I found out that he liked it, and I was amazed by that, and the fact that he's actually going ahead now and making it is just It's unbelievable. I feel incredibly lucky. I'm a huge fan of his work, and I feel like he brings a number of great things to the project. The thing that I was most excited about is the way that he works with actors, because I think he has an ability to get very naturalistic, real performances from people. And I think that when you're making a movie that has some element of fear, the more real the characters seem, the more invested in the story the audience becomes. And I think that's something that John does a fantastic job of. The first person that came on was Josh Duhamel, and really, it's a lot of the same thing that I'm excited about having John doing the project. I'm also excited about having the cast doing it, because they're all down here working so hard and creating and putting a lot of thought and a lot of effort into coming up with unique, real, rounded characters, which is not something that you find in a project like this.
Where you from? Nice to meet you, Pooh. Hi.
This is my sister B.
Hi there.
Amy. You speak English.
Roll cameras.
Mark.
Okay, good. And Josh, if you can, when you guys are coming over on this bridge,
So then we get the rest of it after this? Cool.
that takes place in here off camera.
Okay.
Josh, can you just figure out either right or left of her?
Aproveita esse instante, vira lá de bruxo e pega volante. Então, se liga, gatinha, aproveita esse instante. Então, vira lá de bruxo e pega volante. Então, no banco da frente, vai, no banco. What's your name?
Alex.
Alex. Okay, Alex. I love you, America, okay?
I love you, Brazil.
I love you, Brazil.
I love you, Brazil.
How many brothers and sisters are you having?
One. Just one sister. Yeah. B. B. Who's my sister B?
Facão não tá lá? Não. 124 anos.
Guys, don't bring them up.
y tus trailers, visita mi canal.
Não, mas a intenção dele era parar ali para poder resgatar a Beata ali. Eles estavam tendo que parar para puxar o bicho. Vai focar, levar pra gente focar no caio.
Action!
Diego.
Cut! Action!
Qualquer light.
Luz da grua.
Vamos botar.
Go out, Oglis. Go. We're gonna move. Peraí, faz o isso.
Olivier, essa é sério, eles são do bem, tem o Alex, a Pru, são pessoas legais. Então era o que eu tava te falando, tem a Pru, tem o Alex, eles são legais. Olivier pra mim, por favor.
Gente, silencinho.
No. So you go back to where you were.
All right.
Yeah,
And put your head down even more.
Professor?
Yeah, the rock's great. Even down a little lower. Enrique?
Vê o pescoço?
Não acredito. Obrigada.
Oh, yes. Where's my arrow?
Okay, here.
And someone's got to be outside one of these things doing a little light thing. Which light are we using?
I don't know how to swim, so give me one of these.